system. But before starting, I would like to just to check what you know about contracts. So I'm going to let you in the chat a quick quiz to check what you know, the level of knowledge that you have for this topic. So in 5 minutes, if you agree, just we are not going to see the results now. We will just leave it there. We will take it again after the session, just to compare if you guys have properly understood the process. But just to check, please, if you don't mind, take 3 or 4 minutes to take it, and we will start then. Thank you.
Thank you, Sol. Okay, everyone, so check your chat and make sure you can access the link. Let us know if you can't.
Yeah.
No, it's working, Sol. It's working. The link is working, at least for me. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I see that we have already 27 answers out of 36 students that we have attendees. 28. So let's wait just 1 more minute and we will begin. Okay, thank you. So I think we can already start. Let me just share my screen. Yes. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, Sol, we can.
Okay, so just let me maximize this. Just to check a little bit the answers. We are not going to say which are the right answers. Which of the following is not a solicitation document? Most of you consider that is the unfunded shopping cart. We have the invitation to bid, the request for proposal, and none of them. Okay. Select the right sequence of steps to create a contract in Umoja system. Let me show you the answers. I think it's interesting to make a comment about this question because in the final assessment, you may have some questions with this format, and sometimes it's a little bit weird that you don't understand very well how they work. We will see it better later when we will see the right answer, but you just have to decide or choose the right sequence of steps. Maybe some steps in the middle are missing. Not all the steps are detailed, but you have just to determine if the sequence is correct. This step is happening before this one, and this one is happening before this one. But we will see it this afternoon, as I mentioned. So the fourth one is the one that most people selected. Perfect. RFX document, ITB. The RFX document approver is determined by the system based on the cost center, based on the delegation of authority, is selected by the requisitioner, by the buyer. So, okay, we have this answer based on delegation of authority. Okay, so quite good answers. I'm not going to say anymore about it. We will review them later. And let's jump into our topic, the establishment of a contract in Umoja system. Before starting, let me I'm going to do a quick presentation on the topic. Why? Because the contract establishment in Umoja is quite a long process. Few documents are involved. We have the unfunded shopping cart, we have the RFX document, and we have the contract itself with the approvers. So it's a little bit long. So it's better to do a quick summary of what we are going to do immediately afterwards in the system. So let's go through it. Here you have the main scenarios that lead the creation of a contract in Umoja. As Brian mentioned yesterday, usually we need to create the shopping carts with a source of supply. And in this case, this is the first thread. When we have a source of supply, the PO is automatically generated by the system based on the shopping cart lines included in this PO. And the buyer will review and order the PO. That's the common thread. But sometimes the requisitioner needs to create a shopping cart without a source of supply. In this case, if there is a contract in place, the buyer will assign the source of supply and the process will continue in the, let's say, common way. But if we don't have a contract, we need to create it. So the buyer will create and publish a solicitation, and from the winner bid, we'll create a contract in the system. This is the process that we are going to see today all together. Okay? And you have to take into consideration that the solicitation is a very important part of the procurement process. One of the main principles of UN procurement is the competition. So with this solicitation, we achieve this competition principle. In this case, the document that is used is the invitation to bid, and this process of the creation of the invitation to bid, upload the responses or the bid of the bidders into the system. This represents the activities to execute a solicitation process. it's very important to do this before or when we identify a supplier with which the UN will make business. So just for you to understand the importance of this process, let's go to it. There are several ways of creating contracts in Umoja. One way is creating it directly from an RFX document. This is the recommended step. This is the one that we are going to see today. And under exceptional cases, it can be created, the contract as well, directly from an unfunded shopping cart through the sourcing cockpit, directly from the unfunded shopping cart. And we have another way that is from the contract management tab. I will show this in the system. It's easier to understand when you will see it there. And this option is not recommended. So what are we going to do? We are going to create the contract from an RFX document. And to create this RFX document, we will create in the system an unfunded shopping cart. Who is going to do that? The requisitioner will initiate the solicitation process by creating an unfunded shopping cart. Unfunded shopping carts, I don't know if you know about it. Please feel free to interrupt me or add something whenever you want, okay? So unfunded shopping carts are used to initiate this solicitation process when procuring across budget periods or to initiate blanket purchase orders. Blanket purchase orders are purchase orders created at a product category level, but we will not go into it now. Okay, so this is the first step, the creation of an unfunded shopping cart. What is an unfunded shopping cart? What's the difference between a funded or unfunded shopping cart? I don't know if you're aware that each product category that we use in our shopping carts usually is mapped to one GL account. In this GL account, the expense will be recognized in the case of goods acquired for consumption when the good receipt is done, but in the case of goods that are going to inventory, this expense will be recognized in this GL account, a specific GL account, when the good will be issued from the inventory. So each product category and product ID is linked to one GL account. The system is done in the system, so this is transparent for all of us. But this is how it works for accounting purposes. In the case of unfunded shopping carts, this mapping, product category and GL, is bypassed by the system. And the system is defaulting for all the products or services added in the shopping cart, generic GL, this one that you see in the screen, 89991010, with its associated commitment item, and is statistical, this commitment item. So once the shopping cart is approved, there will not be any pre-commitment of funds. So it's not budget consuming. This is the main difference between an unfunded and unfunded shopping cart. The account assignment has to be populated, and the fund center will be selected as well, because this will determine who will approve the shopping cart. But the GL mapping will be bypassed, and all the items will have this one. I hope this is clear. So these unfunded shopping carts are created adding directly internal goods or services. This is what that we are always mentioning that you should not do when you create a shopping cart, but in this case, it's done this way. Okay? Because the purpose of this unfunded shopping cart is to create a further contract. So we have our unfunded shopping cart created by the requisitioning with all products IDs or services IDs linked to this generic GL account. What's the next step? The next step is that the requisitioner will submit a shopping cart for approval. This is very, very easy. And the system will determine, based on a back-end organizational structure, who will approve this shopping cart. In this case, the approval of the shopping cart, in this case, and usually in the case of any shopping cart, the approval of the shopping cart is based on the fund center. So the requisitioners never select their approvers, okay? The approvers receive a notification of workflow items, and they can monitor this in a work list in the SRM portal that we will see as well. And just for your information, I'm sure that you know this better than me. There are some actions that can be done ad hoc approvers or reviewers. Ad hoc approvers are mandatory approvers that will be added into the process, and reviewers are additional approvers that can review the transaction as well. Okay, so we have our unfunded shopping cart submitted. The approver of the shopping cart based on the fund center is selected by the system, and the certifying officer in this case, or the SA approver, determined based on the fund center, will approve or reject the line items of the shopping cart. Line items in the shopping cart can be approved, not all of them need to be approved in one go. They can be approved independently. And the certified officers may use substitution when they are out of the office and they want to reassign their approvals or the shopping cart spending to be approved. And the requisitioner cannot reject the decision made by the approver. So the requisitioner can only accept what the approver has decided. Okay, maybe the certifying officer will send it back because something is missing or they need it to review, but the requisitioner will only can accept and resubmit it for approval. So this is our shopping cart. Any doubt up to here? Any question in the chat, Saida?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Okay.
now I can.
Okay. No, nothing on the chat, just Sonia, who has shared some information on the serialization number. Thank you very much for this, Sonia, and Danny and Brian are commenting as well, but no questions so far.
Okay, so we can resume. We have our unfunded shopping cart already approved. What's the next step? Now is the buyer, the one who gets into our scenario. The buyer is going to review line item in sourcing cockpit. This action is happening exactly the same with when we create let's say, a funded or normal shopping cart. The buyers check the shopping cart assigned in the sourcing cockpit. And it's very important because the buyers will not receive any email or alerts that they have shopping cart in the sourcing cockpit, okay? They will not receive anything. So they will check if the items have been assigned properly to the correct purchasing group and buyer. As we were mentioning yesterday, the purchasing group is very important. It is defaulted by the system, but it determines who is responsible of the items purchased and will determine as well the approvers on the follow-on documents. In the case of a normal process, the approvers of the purchase order, in this case, the approvers over the RFX document and of the contract itself. So the purchasing group is very, very important. So what else will do the buyer at this stage when reviewing the line items in sourcing cockpit? Will confirm that the items are not provided under another existing local or system contract, and if it is the case, we look for the justification for this new, let's say, this new contract need, and it should be attached in the shopping cart. And we'll review the supporting documents, so that, for example, the SOW, statement of work, okay? So this is our buyer, we'll review everything, and if everything is okay, we'll create the RFX document. The RFX document will be created and will be pre-populated based on the information included in the shopping cart, okay? You will see in the system, it's directly created from the shopping cart, so it's taking all the information from there. And what will do the buyer? Will determine the type of solicitation document required. You know that we have several solicitation documents, such as invitation to bid, request for proposal, or request for quotation. In this case, for the creation of the contract, the buyer will use the invitation to bid document. Okay? The buyer as well will ensure that all bidders are registered in UNGM. As you know, UNGM is the key supplier registration portal in the Umoja solution. And all the commercial entities, or let's say the suppliers that want to do business with the United Nations, should be registered in UNGM. If they are not, they should be registered prior to the bidding process. Okay, so all potential bidders will be reviewed, and the currencies, very important, the currencies included in the RFX. The bids that will not be in the currencies included in the RFX will not be taken into consideration. So it's very important that all, let's say, accurate currencies are included in the RFX, and will not be possible to add currencies after the bid closes. That's why it's so important for the buyer to check when creating the RFX that all bidders are included in UNGM, and that the currencies of the RFX document are the proper ones. Okay? So we have our RFX document created in the system, and the buyer is going to check that there are no errors, and will submit this RFX document. We have said already that is an invitation to bid, the ITB document, to approval. We'll submit it for approval. Okay. There is a checkbox here, but I prefer to mention it in the system because now you will forget, and it's better that you will see it. I will tell this part later. So this RFX document has been created with the right bidders, with the right currencies, have been submitted for approval. So the approver of this RFX document is determined again by the system, but in this case is based on the delegation of authority. So once again, the buyers do not select their approvers, and it's based on delegation of authority, and the purchasing group is taken into consideration. That's why it's so important to not to select it because it comes defaulted, but to check that it is the proper one. Okay. So our SA approver will review the RFX, paying attention to the currencies included, and should already review the list of invited bidders. So that's it, the currencies and the bidders. These are the main things that you have to take into consideration in the RFX document, okay? So now we have two documents created in the system, the unfunded shopping cart and the RFX that have been created, taking all the information from the unfunded shopping cart. So next step, the bid administrator is called, let me tell it more exactly, SA09, SA bid floor administrator. This is the role that that is in charge of checking or receiving the bids and enter the responses into the system. But the buyer, SA03, can do it as well. So buyer or the bid administrator will take care of that. The suppliers can submit the bid responses via mail, fax, or email. You know, there are several ways of submission, and this is the buyer or the bid administrator, the ones that enter these, let's say, responses into the system. The original bidding documents have to be attached into the system. We will see how to do it as well in the system. And once the responses are entered, especially with the right currencies, because as I mentioned before, the ones that are not included in the RFS cannot be uploaded. so it's very important. So the bid administrator or buyer will enter the bid responses. Only this part. It's very important for you to know that the bidder responses have to be inserted in the RFX, especially this for buyers, within the submission deadline date and time defined in the RFX. From the moment that the RFX is published, approved by our procurement approver, up to the submission deadline date, the bidder have to upload or insert these responses into the system. Okay? And the suppliers may make changes to the submitted bid responses before this bid closure. Responses or changes are not allowed after this end data time of submission. So the RFX document is published and there is a submission deadline. In this period of time, the bidders can send their responses and the buyer or bid administrator will insert these responses into the system. Okay? So now the submission deadline is reached, okay? And the opening date, another important date that you have to take into consideration, is reached as well. The opening date is the opening in which the RFX document can be already, one bidder can be awarded. Let's say in this way. So once the opening date is reached, the buyer will start comparing their responses and will be able to award a winner. Okay? So the buyer again will accept all line items, reject all line items, or just accept line by line. This is difficult to imagine, but we will see it in the system. The bidders appear in vertical in columns, and all the columns are one next to each other to be easy to compare. So the buyer, once this opening date is reached, will start comparing, and based on the lines that he or she will accept, will award a bidder. Okay? So I'm going to stop at this point, just to summarize a little bit what we did.
Yeah.
And if there is any question.
Yes, then it's good because then before continuing, maybe if you can, Deborah had a question on in which case ITB, RFP, and RFQ are used. What is the difference? You know, when you create your RFX document, I think if you go a little bit up in your slides, that is there. And how do you determine which solicitation documents to be used? That's from Deborah. And then Maria is also just highlighting that all bidders must have a BP number before starting the RFX. So that's why it is important to be registered in UNGM. Thanks for highlighting this. And I think Raymond had also raised his hand, but maybe if you can first answer Deborah's question, and then we can go with the others.
Yeah, Deborah, regarding this type of solicitation documents, as far as I know, for the creation of the contract is the invitation to bid. There is a very nice job aid that I will share with you after the end of the session, explaining a little bit the format of the three types of documents: the request for proposal, the request for quotation. To be honest, I am not very sure when the request for proposal and for quotation are used. The only thing I'm sure is that for the creation of the contract is the ITP, the one that we have to use. Anyway, we can check later on this job aid that I will send you, and we can try to find it out. Okay. And regarding the BP number that somebody mentioned, is clear. Yeah, it's very important because when the suppliers are registered in UNGM, they are already assigned a BP number. Then there is an option from the portal SRM portal in Umoja to convert a bidder into a supplier. And in this stage, this bidder will be inserted in Umoja, let's say, as a BP with the same BP number that this supplier had in UNGM. And then after this, there is an enrichment process. This supplier will be given a vendor role in Umoja system. And from this moment on, the purchase orders or the shopping carts can be created using this supplier that now is a vendor in Umoja system. I hope I clarified the issues. Sorry, Deborah, about this difference between the request for proposal, quotation, and invitation to bid, but we will resume later on, if you don't mind, okay?
Yeah, and Sonia has nicely shared the online procurement manual with the details on that. Thank you very much for that, Sonia.
Yeah, thank you, Sonia. And please, all of you, if you have a contributions or something to add, feel free, because, you know, sometimes we are more focused on the system itself, on how to perform these transactions in the system. But the business, sometimes we don't know everything, of course, and I'm sure that you know totally more than we do. So feel free to intervene and share with all of us. Okay?
Thanks,
So,
Sol. Raymond had raised his hand. I don't know, do you want to take, Raymond, can you hear me? Yes.
Hi, thank you, Sol, for this session. It's very useful. Just wanted to go back a little bit when you mentioned creating a shopping cart where we should, when selecting the line item, it should not be internal goods services. Is that correct?
Yeah, it should be. In this case, it should be directly internal goods or services. We will see it in the, yeah.
Yes, if it is an unfunded shopping cart.
This is because that's the reason why we can select directly internal goods or services coming from the material or service master catalog, because it is an unfunded. And the purpose of this unfunded shopping cart is to create a contract.
Yes.
So we are going to, yeah. Sorry.
Can I just finish my sentence, Ben? Because this is clear. You mentioned if it is a funded shopping cart, it should not be an internal goods and services. Is that correct?
Yeah.
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 But what I would like to mention is, because this is what we said also at day one, since we have also entities participating in this kind of trainings, because when we in the entities we raise shopping carts and we select the line item, which is internal goods and services. When it is a funded shopping cart, because the entities do not have this warehouse or inventory. So that's why any material which is ordered is for consumption. Is this going to be like that, or is there going to be any changes? This is what my question was.
Okay. Okay, now I get you, my dear. Yeah. Okay. I think we have the consumption material for consumption or to inventory is one thing, but what we meant here by telling that we should not add directly internal goods or services, what we mean is that we should use a contract, an established contract. It doesn't matter if the products are for or the services consumption or inventory, but they should always come from a contract. These are the best practices. Of course, sometimes there are exceptions, but to avoid errors, we should always use contracts, independently if the goods are for consumption or for inventory. Am I right, Brian?
Yeah, exactly. So I was letting you finish as well. Yesterday we shared a PDF for the most common errors when raising shopping carts. And that's actually 3 or 4 slides in that PDF make a lot of emphasis on that. Whether you purchase for consumption or you purchase for inventory, you always have to raise the shopping cart using the product IDs from an established contract. You never used uncategorized product IDs. So you only would use it when you're raising the unfunded shopping cart to basically go for solicitation and then establish a contract. But when you raise the shopping cart for goods, you're always using the PIDs that belong to an established contract. So thank you, Sol. I hope that clarifies it too. We shared a PDF yesterday that explains it very well. That is called Most Common Errors in Raising Shopping Carts. Okay, I can share it again in the chat so it's fresh in our minds. But thank you for restating that, Sol, and everyone else. I know this is something that keeps being this keeps being a mistake, no matter how many trainings of requisitioning occur. Uh, it is what it has to be done. It is the step and the way forward is to do it like that, right? You always now select a product ID from an established contract. You do not use generic product IDs when raising a shopping cart, okay? A funded shopping cart. Thanks, Sol. You can continue. I don't think there's anything else in the chat. I'm going to add the that PDF I'm talking about to the chat as well.
So I hope it's clear now.
Thank you.
You're welcome, dear. And Saida, do we have any more questions? Or
yeah, just one clarification. If a shopping cart is unfunded, we should select line item, internal goods or service. Is it right?
Yeah. Don't worry about it because we will see it in the system. Because now, talking theoretically, I understand it can be a little bit confusing, but when we will see it in the system right now in 5 minutes, we will see how it is done, okay?
Yeah, and I think that's it. Otherwise, there are other conversation on ITP and RFP, and Brian has shared some information there as well. Thank you for that. That's it. That's it for the chat.
Thank you, Saida. Thank you. So let's resume. Remember, maybe I'm repeating all the steps all the time, but I think it's good for you to settle out the knowledge, because we created the unfunded shopping cart. Then the RFX was created by the buyer based on the unfunded shopping cart information, and the buyer added the bidders and the right currencies. This RFS document was approved, let's say published, and during this time, the bidders submitted via email, mail or fax their biddings or their responses to the bid. We will see the document later on as well in the system, the document that the bidders will receive and the one that they have to send later on with all the information populated. And then the buyer, after the submission deadline, will insert these responses in the system. Okay, so once the opening date, another important date, is reached, the buyer will compare all the responses from the bidders, will select or reject items or lines, and at the very end, the buyer will award a bidder. Okay, this is where we were. And from this response, the one that has been, let's say, the winner response, the buyer creates a contract. Okay, so we have mentioned this contract will contain information coming from the RFX and from the original unfunded shopping cart. So the buyer, once the contract is created, will have to review some important things like the financial rules, the target value, the payment terms, pricing conditions, and relevant information. And there are two key, let's say, pieces of information that the buyer have to be careful of. Are the distribute contract to catalog flag that is in the header of the contract. We will see it in the system. And at line item, we have the status value. Why these two, let's say, fields or flags are so important? Because if these are not properly selected, this contract will not be visible in the PD contract catalog. Okay, so the distribute contract to catalog flag has to be checked to yes, and at line item, each of the materials or services included in our contract should have the status active. Sometimes it happens that, oh, I cannot find my contract, or I cannot find this line item in my contract when you are trying to create a shopping cart. And it can be the reason why is because these two, let's say, flags are not properly settled in the contract. We will see it as well in the system. So this contract is the buyer will review that the contract is properly created and will submit it for approval. Okay. So who is approving the contract? The contract is approved again. Is determined by the system based on the delegation of authority, and the buyers will not select their approver. And this approver is already linked with the purchasing group. The approval of the shopping cart is based on the fund center, but the approvers of the RFX and the contract are based on the delegation of authority, say the purchasing group. So here we have, okay, once approved, the contract will be released and it can be used from the PD contract catalog when creating a shopping cart or a LBA or whatever. So let's see a summary of the steps. I think it is clear. I will leave this slide open, and while we are performing the exercise in the system, I will resume the steps, and here we are for you, because as you can see, there is a little bit long, but it's very, very easy to understand. And please, if you get lost, you don't remember what we are doing, just stop me and let me know, okay? So let me stop sharing. We are going now to the system. Before, I would like to show you guys, this. You are going to receive, hopefully on Friday, exercises for all the sessions that we have covered during the training. And as Brian was showing to you yesterday, you will receive something like that. You will have here for the exercise of contract establishment, you will have the roles that you have to use and the password in Umoja, okay? You will find here important BIE reports that Danny will show us this afternoon. The steps, summarize the steps, what we have just seen now, and some Jules Rulio baits. Here you have the one that I was mentioning. The usage of UN fields in the RFX form. So you will see later on, we will go through it a little bit. So this is what you are going to receive to complete your exercise in the system. Let me show you as well the exercise itself that you are going to receive. I am not sure that I open it. Let me open it. Here it is, the exercise. Yeah. And this is the, let's say, the exercise itself. I am going to follow this exercise, exactly the one that you are going to receive. Here you have the shopping cart materials and services that we are going to include in our contract. And very important as well, this is the point I wanted to reach now. Sorry for that, and our apologies, but sometimes the training environment is not as accurate as we would like. So some of the exercises need to be completed in Q5E, another in T3J. So in the exercise itself, you will have the clear instructions. Where do you have to log in and how? Because, you know, all the things don't work in all the environments. So sometimes we have to jump a little bit. So in this case, we are going to use T3J, and let me log in for you to see and start the exercise. Just, sorry, here it is. Okay, here it is. Let me log in Umoja. Okay. So we are going to go to the Umoja non-production portal. It's this icon here. Okay, here it is. I'm going to click on it. And now there is an important step that I want to explain you as well, because you will see it as it will be shown here, and you may think that something is not working properly, and it's not the case. Just wait while it's opening. This is the screen I was referring to. You will receive this screen. So you will say, what I'm doing wrong? Nothing. Leave this screen as it is and just click on favorites. You will have here Umoja training system links and select T3J. Okay, let's go. And here we are. This is our login screen for our portal. And just let me again show the exercise. Here it is. Just let me close the cover page and this one as well. Okay, here we are. So what are we going to do in this exercise? We are going to, let's read a little bit the scenario. MoveCon in UNHQ is planning to install new air terminals in various offices in New York. Acquisition unit gathers the requirements for the project. COM IT equipment and services need to be acquired. For this purpose, a contract needs to be established. Okay, so this is the information that we are going to use. First step, we are going to log in as requisitioners, as we mentioned. So let me log in as the requisitioning to create our unfunded shopping cart with the information that we have in our exercise. The requisitioning will log here and we'll go to requisitioning site, create document, shopping cart. So let's go here, shopping cart, click here. A new window is open. For those of you who are not used to use, let's say, the SRM portal, there are always many windows opening, pop-ups. So now I have two windows here. So be very careful because sometimes you have information open in the background in another window. This is just to be aware of the windows. Now, a new window is open to create. Always, it's a tip, very useful to read what we have here. This is the window of the creation of the shopping cart, okay? Because later on with the RFX, we will have even more. So I will explain you how to handle it. So we are going to add items. Here we are. This is the main point.
Sorry
yeah?
to interrupt you. Can you please maximize this window?
This one as well? Perfect.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Saida.
Thank you.
So we are going to add items. This is the point that we were discussing before. We can select from PD contract catalog. In a normal shopping cart, we should select the items from a PD contract catalog. But in this case, as we don't have any contract in place, our aim is to create it. We are going to add internal goods or services. Okay. So let's click on internal goods or services, and we have a new pop-up opened. We have several options. For example, if we know directly the product ID that we want to include, we can type it here. Let me take one of them. For example, this is a service. Let's take it. Fiber optic link service. We are going to add a service first. So I can either type the product ID right here or click on this box and we'll open a new window. Here I can search. For example, if I am not sure about the service ID that I want to include, I could look here, just type between asterisks fiber optic and click on search. You see? And here we have all, let's say, products ID, materials. Materials starts with 1 and services with 3, just for you to understand this. So we have here the materials and the services that are linked to or have in their description the fiber optic words. So this is the one that we wanted to add. We can select it from here. Here it is. And at this stage, we can already add the quantity. And when, in this case, as it is a service, the dates when or between this service is required. So let me check in the document. So the quantity is 1, and between the 1st of June 2020, 1st of June 2021. Okay. So sorry, you see, this is the problem with the screens, as I was mentioning in the several screens in the portal. So let's say the 1st of June 1st of June 2020 and 1st of June. Maybe I'm going too slow. For those of you who never saw the portal, if you think I'm going too slow, you want me to speed up, or you want me to go even slower, just let me know, okay? So this is the unit, our product ID with the description, 1, and this service is going to be provided between this year and next one. So, okay. And we already have a line here, okay? I'm going to add all of them. You have seen how it is done, searching for the product ID just by clicking Add Item, Internal Goods Services. But from now on, I'm going to add the product ID directly because it's quicker. So I have all of them. Let me select all of them. This is the next one. So just let me add it again. Sorry for that, all the windows here. So I will add this one. Okay, same again between the 1st of June 2020 and the 1st of June 2021. Okay, we have another one. And now we are going to add, if I am not mistaken, 3 materials, not services. Let me check them. Another, so yes, this computer laptop, we are going to order 5 laptops. Again, sorry, 5 laptops here. You see, in this case, we are adding a material. It's not a service, sorry. So we don't have when or the range of dates where this service is going to be provided, but we have the delivery date information. Let me check the delivery date. It's the 1st of June. Okay. So 1st of June here. Okay, let me add just a couple of more internal goods services, and let's take this product ID. We are going to order 10 of them. You have all the information here, 10 quantity. So let's go. 10 of them, and the delivery date is the 1st of June. Oh, sorry. You see here, I didn't have time because I was too quick to change the delivery date. I will show you now how to change it, but I think you already know. Let me add the last one. Is there, here it is. And we want to order 5. Okay, so 5. Add item, services. We are going to order 5 on the delivery date. Let me put it here correct. 1st of June 2020. Okay. Okay. So we have our 5, let's say, 3 material and 2 services that we want to include in our contract. Okay. So let's go to this one. How to edit the data that we have just typed. We can select one line, I think it was the mouse, the one I didn't do properly, and go to details. Okay. So here you can change the delivery date and all the information that you have here. And let's go back to it, 1st of June 2020. And it's very important, in this case, you see the purchasing group that has been defaulted is the PD buyer supervisor. Usually you should leave it as it is. In this case, and because this is the training environment and is not working very well, we have to change. It is specified in the exercise, and select the PD long-term AC purchasing group. Why? Because if not, you will not get approvers and you will not be able to complete the exercise. Okay? So I have changed this. I am going to select this purchasing group. So I will review purchasing group, quantity is okay, delivery date is okay, and the plant, as we mentioned, is defaulted as well by the system, as well, not as we mentioned, as Brian mentioned yesterday. So let's go to each of the items and change the purchasing group. You have several ways. You can select one line item, for example, this service, and click on details. You have it here, or you can navigate from here. So now we are on item 1. I'm going to change the purchasing group to PD long-term AC. I will review that everything is properly populated. Okay, and let's move to this next one. We are changing now the purchasing groups for all of them, the second, the third. Is already, sorry, the third one. Okay. Okay, the fourth I already did it, and the fifth. Fourth and fifth. You see this, it's a little bit slow, the portal. So be patient. So we have selected the proper purchasing group. We have reviewed that the quantities and delivery dates or required dates in the case of services are properly populated. And before submitting, we need to add a proper account assignment per to each line, let's say. Let's go. This is a key part of the process. Let's go to one line. We have the first, and let's click on account assignment tab. Here at the very bottom, you have to, the account assignment selected tab, but you have to click again on details. And the window is getting bigger. So, important thing, account assignment category. You have to select here Unfunded. If you don't select this Unfunded, the GL, you see, as it changes, before it was selected cost center, and you can see that GL was automatically derived by the system. This is what I was mentioning before. This is the GL account where the expense will be recognized once this product or service will be, let's say, delivered or from accounting perspectives. But if we select Unfunded, the system is bypassing this mapping and using this fixed GL account. Okay, so we will select Unfunded. The cost center, I know it by heart, but you can check it in your exercise. Then UNA, and the budget period is B21, just to be sure that everything is. So now we have to do this same thing for the 5 line items. Very, very important, just to the account assignment category. Let's move to the next one. So this process is a little bit long and the system is slow, but we need to go through. Cost center 1002, the fund 10 UNA, and the budget period P21. Okay, so let's go to the third. Unfunded shopping cart, refreshing. 10002, 10 UNA. And the last one, oh no, not the last one yet, sorry. Let's go to the fourth. Every time you enter, you see the system is rechecking the status. So now I have the error in the line 4. You see the account requires CO object. That means that no account assignment has been properly populated yet. Sorry. So let's finish. This exercise is quite long, but if you complete it, I'm sure you will not have any problem when creating contracts in the system. Then UNA and the budget period B21. And now hopefully, yes, the last one, our reader passport is unfunded. Remember that because of this unfunded, there will not be any pre-commitment of funds when the shopping cart is approved. And B21. So here we are. I think that's it regarding the shopping cart. Okay, so we can check. You see down. Check, check, check. And we have a commitment item with an okay. So everything are warnings. Here you have one interesting warning I wanted to review with you. This is the training environment. We are just creating these fake contracts for you to understand how the process works, but the system is telling us, wow, a contract already exists. So we mentioned that one of the things that the buyer should do is to review that there is not already a contract for any of these items that are going to be included in the new contract. In this case, we are going to go through, even if we have this warning, but this is important. Then we should check why, if we have already a contract, why we are going to create a new one. Okay, but this is the training environment. Let's move on. Something important as well, at line item level, you have an approval process overview, and here you have the list of approval. Just for your information, here is the training environment. It's a horrible long list, but you should have here, or you can know who is going to, let's say, approve this shopping cart. Okay, so once we have it, I think I didn't forget anything. Yeah, we are going to just rename the shopping cart. Let's say shopping cart, Sol, contract establishment, for example. But you should put your name on it, because maybe you will get lost, or you didn't finish your exercise. You want to resume in a different day. You can look easily for your shopping cart if you put it a name. So let's check again and order this shopping cart, this unfunded shopping cart. So at the very end, we should have, okay. So this is my shopping cart number, 123 20120. Has been created successfully. So I don't know if we have any questions, but I think it's a good point to stop here, and we can continue. This is the longest document, because we have to add all the line items and whatever.
No, there is no question in the chat so far, Sol, but yeah, very good moment to break for 5 minutes.
Okay.
What do you think?
Do you agree?
Yeah. Just one before we break, maybe. Sana has asked, what about the price? Should the shopping cart indicate the amount?
Yes, it should. You are fully right. I forgot it, but we will do it once after even if we submitted the shopping cart can be edited. In fact, if you want, we will do it quickly. Okay, not complete. So let me send it back, and when we will come back from the break, we will add the price quickly, and we will, just for you to see how it is done, and we will continue. It's very, very good observation. Sorry, I skip it.
Perfect. So let's come back at 11:10.
11. Yeah, 11:10 is okay for you guys. Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. Thank you, Sol and Saida.
Thank you. See you in 5 minutes. So hello, everybody. Hello, everybody's back.
Yes, Sol.
Yeah,
So
we're
let
back.
me share my screen again. Sorry, guys, for this. Sorry, question?
No, just people saying that we are back.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Sorry for this horrible. I forgot something very important. In fact, in the exercise, you have it, you see, for each item. In fact, I mentioned it, but I completely forgot. Because even if the shopping cart is unfunded and is created in order to create a contract, the price has to be included. Of course, it has to be included.
Just to inform you, Sol, we don't see your screen.
I just let me, maybe, you don't?
No, no.
Yeah. Now?
Yes, now it's working. Thank you.
So, as I was mentioning, in the exercise, you have it properly detailed for each line, the price and everything. And even if it is unfunded and it is used to create a contract, the price is needed, of course.
Sol, before you continue, sorry for just jumping in, because since we are talking about exercises, we did so yesterday and we're doing again today, and we're showing these exercises. Some students keep asking and also reaching out through email, why don't they receive these exercises? So I've mentioned on day one, and we're repeating it throughout the week, we are developing cover pages for you guys as the training is ongoing. We're working on them. And we're going to deliver these to you by the end of the week. Okay, you haven't received those yet because we still have to make sure that we have enough credentials for everyone and that the training environment doesn't have any issues, so you can reproduce these exercises on your own. Okay, they will not be a requirement for the training. They're going to be just an extra for you guys to practice on your own time, but they won't be delivered to you until the end of this training. Okay, we're just showing you now what these exercises look like, the type of requirements you're going to have to fill in, and how to use the cover page that we'll provide to you as well. I just want to remind all of you in this session, just so that it's clear. You'll receive these by the end of the week. Okay, sorry, Sol.
Oh, don't worry. Thank you, Brian, for the reminder. So, sorry, this is the shopping cart. Here I have it. And we are going to just in the same, you see, you select the item, go to details, sorry. When you have the purchasing group, quantity, I mentioned already the price and I didn't update it. So I'm going to, for example, for my first service is 5,000. It's horrible, this portal is taking a long time. Now, just to speed up the process, you can type information directly here, even the product IDs. But I did it adding internal because I wanted you to be very aware that is how it is done, and it's selected internal goods and services. Okay, so 500 here, 25. This one, as I mentioned, is properly detailed in the exercise, and 2,000. Hopefully now, yes, the prices are there. Let me review that I didn't make any mistake. Perfect. So check and order. This is the step where we stop before the break. So now the system based on the fund center will determine which approver has to approve my shopping cart. As I mentioned in the approval process overview tab, you can check it. So let's close this window. Another question related with the SRM portal, tips. You can close the windows here by closing the window here, but my recommendation is please use the close button, because sometimes if you close from here, some queries internally remains working, and then you open again with the same user and the system tells you some sessions are open. So sometimes the portal is difficult to manage. So my recommendation, we are going to close this window. Let's close from here. Okay, let's close from here. You see, it will remain in this status sometimes and you will receive errors. So let's wait. And now we are going to log off and log in as the approver of this shopping cart. let me remember. You will have all these approvers as well in your cover page, so you don't have to remember anything. Just copy them from the cover page. The password T2HQ. Sorry, I made a mistake here. Okay, so let's approve this shopping cart. This is the task list that we were mentioning, where the approvers can review their pending transactions. Once you enter into the portal with the proper role, login as the proper, let's say, approver in this case, you will have here a list of things that are pending to be approved by you. You see, here it is, because I copied the one that I created to add the prices. So this is the one that we are going to approve. Sorry, I just opened the window. Let me close and show you something else. I'm sharing tips while I'm talking, just if they can be useful for you. You can directly approve by right-clicking here and clicking on approved, or you can click directly to the document. A new window with the document will be open. This is what the approver should do. Open it, review it. For example, the prices are there. This one that I created before was a little bit strange, because you see, proof shopping cart with value 0. This is weird at first sight. So should be review. The prices are okay. The purchasing groups or whatever are properly selected. So we can already approve this shopping cart, clicking on submit. Okay, so our shopping cart has been approved successfully. Next step, let's go back just to here to our presentation. What's the next step? The shopping cart has been approved, so now the buyer is going to review the line items in the sourcing cockpit in order to create the RFX. So log off. And let's log in now. Now we are going to put the hat of buyers. We are going to be buyers now. The credentials for the buyer.
Sol, while
Yes?
you are logging in as a buyer, there are 2 questions maybe you can confirm. The first one is from Claude. He's asking if the system is not putting any alert if you don't put the price, and as we could see, I think it did not block you. The system did not block you to submit the shopping cart.
Yeah.
But is there any alerts that the system is warning you?
I am not sure. I don't think so, because as you saw when I was creating the shopping cart, when I checked, there were some warnings, yellow, let's say like this one, yellow warnings. I don't think that the prices were mentioned there, but the approver would for sure realize. The approver would realize, because when you see the list of approvals, approved shopping cart with 0 value, this is not correct. Of course, it's not correct. But the system, as you can see, allowed you to proceed, even if you don't. I think it is because this is an unfunded shopping cart.
Yeah, okay. And another one is from George, but I think Danny's answering. Is the fund center or the purchasing group that defines the approver?
Okay, very good question. The approver of the shopping cart is defined by the fund center. It's the certifying officer, the one that approves the shopping cart. The follow-on documents, you will see now the RFX and the contracts. The approver is determined based on the purchasing group and the delegation of authority. But for the shopping cart approval is the certifying officer, and it's based on the fund center. And in a normal shopping cart, not an unfunded one, in a normal shopping cart is the same. The shopping cart is approved by the certifying officer, and the PO should be approved, if it is the case, based on the purchasing group.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Sol. That's it. And thanks, Danny, for answering that in the chat as well.
Okay.
So, and a last one, maybe from Sonia. Do we have an alert if one of the line item is not properly set up, unfunded? If we do not put unfunded properly in the line items, is there any warning?
No, For this, for sure not, because you can select this. This makes no sense, but you could have the system allows you to select one based on the this category cost center as it is defaulted. I don't think the system will warn you either, so you have to be very careful, especially in this step, because as we have seen in the presentation this morning, the RFX document is taking the information from the shopping cart, and the contract is taking the information from the RFX. So the most important document, or the one that contains a big amount of information, is the unfunded shopping cart. So you should be very careful when you are creating it and taking into account all these small things. Is it clear?
Yeah, thank you, Sol. Yeah,
you're welcome. Okay, so now we have our unfunded shopping cart already approved, and we are going to, let's say, create the RFX document. How to create the RFX document? So the buyer should log in and go to, let's say, purchasing, central functions, carry out sourcing. To check this, let's say, let me display it again. Purchasing, for let's close, central functions here, carry out sourcing. Okay, let's go there, and we have a new window. Once again, let me open it again. What are we going to do here? We are going to select the requisition, let's say the shopping cart, from which we are going to start the creation of our RFX. So I will type here my shopping cart number 21208 and click on search. Here we are. So we have here, you see, the requisition number slash the different line items, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 2 services and 3 materials added in our shopping cart. So we are going to select all the lines here. You see, clicking on select all. And once we have all the lines selected, we will click on next. So we are going to include the 5 line items that we have created in our unfunded shopping cart. Let's click on next. Once again, we have to assign the source of supply. We are going to again select all the lines. And here, this step is difficult to remember, but here you have some buttons. You have to go to the create draft 1, and here we have the options. Remember that I mentioned that a contract can be created directly from an unfunded shopping cart. This is what I meant. You could come here, create draft contract, but this is not recommended. So the right or the best practice is to create from the unfunded shopping cart the RFX document, and from the RFX document we will create our contract. So we are going to select RFX here. Here we are. And now we have to tell the system in the created draft sections what type of RFX we are going to create. Here we have all types. We were discussing as well before. You see, and we are going to select the ITB standard type of transaction. Okay, ITB standard. So I think I didn't miss anything. ITB standard. Now we have it selected. We are going to edit the selected draft. We will click here on edit the selected draft. In the system, you see opening window after window. That was I was mentioning before. We have here already an RFX document created. We have here a number, RFX number, with the information. If we go, for example, to items, we have the 5 line items that we added with the delivery dates, the bidders is empty because we didn't add any bid yet. And we have here the artifacts information, like these two dates that I was mentioning before, submission deadline and opening date. This, we will come back to them later on. So what we are going to do now is insert the bidders. Remember that at this stage, there are three main things that we have to populate in the artifacts document: the bidders, the currencies, and the submission and opening, the submission deadline and opening date. Let's start from the bidders. Let's go there. We are going to search to add bidders, and we should know, this is already in the document as well, in the exercise specified, but in real life you should know the bidders that you want to participate here. So we are going to include here. We have we can here all the lines, all the bidders, we can look for them. I'm going to look for the ones that starts with 111, that are the commercial bidders, and click on search. If you already know the BP number of the bidders that you want to include, you can type it directly. You don't have to go through the search or whatever, but just for those of you who are new in the system, is just to show you that you have the possibility of looking for bidders based on the name, as we did with the asterisk, based on the type of business partners. In this case, I'm looking for commercial business partners, the ones that starts with 111. So there are several ways of getting your bidders from this list. Let's wait a little bit.
Maybe I can use that time to ask you a few questions.
Okay.
Sana is asking, when you were creating your shopping cart, shall the requisitioner, attach documents, you know, in the like TORs or something like that? And I think there's a tab when you create your shopping cart where you can attach documents, right?
Yeah, you can attach documents. In fact, this warning that we saw, that our contract is already existing for this product. In this case, this should be reviewed, and there should be attached why we need a new contract for a product for which we already have a contract in the PD contract. So all the things that you or that need to be attached should be attached in the shopping cart. Yeah, here we will attach documents as well, but yes, you are fully right.
Okay, cool. And then George is asking, so if we may use the draft contract creation example in case of waivers for competitive process.
Sorry, I think I didn't get the question.
Okay. We may use the draft contract creation
directly. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's the question that he was asking.
As far as I know, maybe somebody of you can jump in and really share information. This is only create directly a draft contract in exceptional cases, but I'm not really aware of which are these exceptions. So maybe you are right. I am not sure. Anyone has more information on this?
No. No reaction so far.
Yeah, not from my side either. So since I know there's a lot of business context behind this, and exceptions that may occur in some entities that do and do not, and some rules that we may want to look into. If anyone wants to add something in the comments or intervene at a later stage, maybe we can. But for now, nothing to add, at least not from my side.
Yeah, George was asking what was your so we are talking about the exceptions on when to use the draft contract creation, and because Sol, if I'm not mistaken, you said that the best practice is to start creation of RFX and not to start the creation of a contract.
Yeah.
So that's the best practice. But in which case are we then going directly to the contract? That was the question. Yeah.
No, we can write it down and maybe we can check and come back to you later, guys, with some answers. Because to be honest, I am not aware of this exception.
Yeah, and Jawad, yeah, please go ahead, Jawad. You can
Yes,
unmute yourself.
good morning.
Hello, Jawad.
How are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, crystal clear. Yes.
If I understood the question right, are you asking on when should we use the contract when it's directly created by the procurement without going through RFX?
Yes, exactly.
Yes. In exceptional cases, when it's up to the discretion of the procurement officer. Sometimes we create contracts without going through an RFX. We can use this function in exceptional cases. It's up to our discretion. However, each time a shopping cart is created against this contract, it has to be certified and approved.
Okay. Very good. Good. Okay. So
I don't know if it was a little bit clear or not.
No, yes, it's clear, but yes.
And for instance, I can give you an example. If we see some recurrent requirement from a specific or from certain requisitioners, we may find it suitable to create a contract for this requirement without going. We can do a parallel bidding outside the system and then create a contract.
Very good. So mainly, if I understand, Howard, is when there is no going to be a bidding process, is when you create it directly from the Very good. Thanks a lot.
Yes, even we can also create directly a purchase order sometimes if there is an exigency or it's up to the circumstances. We can create directly a purchase order. I'm talking as buyer, and then we can also create a contract without having to create a shopping cart or an RFX.
Perfect.
But this is used very rarely.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Jawar. Yes, and
Thank you, Jawar.
Yeah, Jawar. This fits what we mentioned, that the competition should be always involved in this kind of solicitation. So when should not be done like that, but maybe in some occasions where there is no bidding process in the middle of it, it can be done directly, creating the contract without passing through the RFX. So thanks a lot for sharing. Thanks a lot. And the rest of you guys, feel free really to share, because we learn a lot from you too. So feel free. Thank you. So Saida, can we resume or do we have more questions?
Yeah, thanks, Sol. I think that's there is another comment or question from Raymond, but it's also about when to use the contract. But I think the conversation can it's very much based on specific cases. So I think that's it for the moment. So
Okay.
Yeah. Sol.
Okay, so let's resume. Remember what we were doing? We had just created our RFX document based on the unfunded shopping cart, and now we are going to add the bidders. So according to the exercise, you click on control, you can select these are the three that we asked you to select in the exercise. So we are going to add these 4 bidders, and we are going to add these bidders. Okay, so we have them here. Very important as well, the currencies of the bidding process that will be taken into consideration, because if one bid is coming with a different one, will not be considered. So here, you see, let me close this. You have bidder. In the bidder tab, we have bidder overview. That's where we inserted our bidders, and bidder currencies. Here we are going to add the currencies that will be involved in this bidding process. You can click on add currency, and you have several options as well. Yes, I will show you. Clicking on these white squares, you can, for example, look for, let's say, pound. Yeah, pound. And the system will give you Lebanese pound, for example, or GBP, British pound. Let's select British pound. Or you can, if you know directly, you can add currency and type it here. For example, euro. euro, dollar, and let me check the ones that we need to include. I am just following. Sorry. It's euro. You see, this is what I was mentioning about the amount of windows that are open in SRM that is easy to get lost. Here we are. So we have dollars, euro, GBP, and I think we should add the Lebanese pound as well. So click on add currency again. This box become editable, and Lebanese pound, LBP. Okay, so these are our 4 currencies that we are going to consider in this bidding process. And I think that's it. We have the bidders and the currencies in the bidder tab. Now, only one thing is missing, the dates. The dates that are, let's say, that we have to populate is the submission deadline from the moment that the bidder, the RFX document will be published up to the submission deadline. The bidders will be able to send us their responses, and the buyer will be able to upload this in the system. So let me select here. You should know realistic dates. I'm going to put half an hour, let's say 12 before. Today at 12, because I want to show you all the process in one morning, or maybe some part of the afternoon, but let's put 12. And the opening date, no, let's put, 12. And the opening date, after the opening date is when the responses can be compared, and one of the responses be awarded. So let me select today. Let's do it at 12:05. I don't want to take time of your lunch, so let's do it like that. So let's go here. We have submission deadline, remember, and opening date. Very important dates. In this case, these are totally not realistic, but for me to show you the process, I have to use this like that. So you see here we have an error, a warning. Please enter the submission deadline. Without it, the RFX cannot be published. So I'm going to check now. You see, now the RFX is complete and there is no error. And I'm going to publish. Let's click on publish. Okay. So let me write down this number. This is my RFX number. Just for you to know, the shopping cart number starts with 100. This 34 is the RFX document, and the contract 3477. We start with 47, if I am not mistaken, 3477. Okay, so this is RFX. Just before we close the RFX, just let me show you the print preview button. This print preview button will display the solicitation document that will be sent to the vendors. Yes, let me open it with. So you see, let me zoom out a little bit. So this is the document. Now it's fake, as you can see, but here is everything. You have included the cover page, cover letter, instructions for submission, acknowledgement letter, and a statement of work. Everything is here. This is the draft. Here we have our 4 bidders. Just out of curiosity, this is in fact, it should be printed. Okay, so let me close it. And here we are. We are going to close our RFX document. And the next step is this RFX has to be approved. And from this moment on, it is considered published. So let me close this window. Close this one as well. This one, sorry, I did it wrong. I didn't use the close button. And log off. So now the approval of the RFX documents, it's based on the purchasing group and delegation of authority. It's Q. I know it by heart, but you will have it in the cover page. Once again, we are an approver. Now we have here a list of tasks. Probably mine is not appearing yet here, but if you click on refresh, this list will be updated. Here we are. This is our RFX number, you see 3477. So let's click on it. Now I should review that all bidders are properly included, yeah, and the currencies as well. And in the RFX information, we have the proper dates typed, okay? So I will approve. From this very minute up to this 20th of May, today at 12, we will be able to receive responses and upload them into the system. So this is what I'm going to do now because we have only 20 minutes to do it. So let me close the RFX document that has been just approved. And now again, the bid administrator of the buyer is in charge of taking care of the responses. So let me log off. Yes. And let's log in as buyer. I am the buyer again, and I am going to look for this RFX document that has been already approved. How? By clicking on strategic sourcing. Let's click here. Here you see we have RFX, all saved, awaiting approval, published. In the training environment, I am not sure in production, but in the training environment, this report here to look for RFX is not working very well. So my recommendation, let's try. Let's click on publish. Let's see. You see, ours is not appearing. So my recommendation is to type the number if you know it. And you see, it's not appearing as published, but if I look for it, you will see it is here and it is published, you see. So sometimes it's not working very well. So my recommendation is to come here, type your RFX number and apply it. So here it is. So I'm going to, as a buyer, click on it and edit it. And I'm going to upload the bids that pass the technical evaluation. I'm going to upload the responses. How? Without editing, sorry, I told we are going to edit. We don't have to edit. We have to click on responses and awards. Here we have. A new window is open, see? Responses and awards window. We are going to just wait a little bit because maybe the system is not refreshed yet. Now we are going to upload responses on behalf. Because we just, the opening date is just so close, sometimes it takes time to, yeah. So, okay, now let's select our first bidder, and we are going to click on response on behalf. Okay, let me check the, here it is. This is the exercise. All the steps that we have been doing up to now are here. You see here you have to add the notes and attachments. I skip it because the exercise is super long, but it's very easy. So we can attach documentation. And let's go now to the prices, the bidder responses. Here you have all the things that we did. Here we are, responses and awards, create. So let's take these numbers, okay, for each one of the bidders. Let's go back to the system. Yep. Here we are. So we are going to create a response on. I think I already did for A and Z. No. Remember, this is why I mentioned many windows. Sometimes it's not easy to. Let's do it again. Response on behalf, create. So we have to create the response document for our first bidder. So we are going to click on items, and here we are going to type. We can go through selecting line by line and clicking on details, or type directly the prices here. So let's go do it first like that. We are going to type these prices that we have in our exercise. For the first item is 5200. Okay. Okay, so let's go to the second product. You see, I'm going to type them right here, that because it's quicker. But just for you to know that both ways are good to do that. You can do it directly from here or in the detail of the line. 6. Stack. Okay. Here it's 6200. 6200. Here it's 600. And here, this one is 27. And the very last one is reader passport is 2200. Okay. So here we have the responses and the different prices coming from our first bidder. When we have finished typing each of them, we have to again check, submit this answer. We are creating answer documents, let's say, and close. The system will take us again to this window where we have the response activity and all our bidders. It's very important that every time you come back here after inserting the responses for the first bidder, you have here a message. Please click refresh to view the latest information. If we click on refresh now, you see, we have already a response for our first bidder. Okay, so this is properly done. Let's go to the second one. Let's click on response on behalf and do exactly the same, but with the prices for this bidder. Add effects information. Let's go to items tab. Items tab. Let's go here directly again to do it quicker. Here it is. Here we are. So check the responses, submit, and close. Once again, the system will tell us, please click on refresh, because this is not the last stage of this process, the last picture of the status. Let's say it, refreshing, you see, another one is submitted. Let's finish. Response on behalf, create, and go to the items tab. Once again, let's type the prices for this one. 6,000, 7,000. If you see that this exercise is super long, when you will do it in the system, sorry, you can skip some of the products ideas. You can put, I would recommend you to keep at least one service and one good, just to have all the options. Sorry, 2,000. So here we are, 676. Sorry, this one should be 600. You see, it's good to review. Okay, so check, submit, and close. We will refresh, and let's go to the last one. Select the one, response on behalf, create, items tab again, and the last one. The price is 5,000 here. Sorry, 5,000. Here is 600. Yep. 600. Our mouse, and the very last one is the reader passport. Okay, let's check this is something crazy. Okay, that's good. Check, submit, and close. Yeah, let's do this and refresh. So here we are. We have all the responses from our bidders submitted in the system. We could do changes, or bidders could do changes, because we are still before the submission deadline. So they could do changes up to this very moment. And we should do these changes, or put these changes in the system. So that's it. I just wanted to mention before going for lunch, because I think we are going to stop at this stage, that the bids itself, physically the bids, should be uploaded here as well. If you we have the responses already submitted, let me close this window. Here in notes and attachments of the RFX document, yeah, there is a place to upload notes, attachments, and this collaboration link. Let me open, because this is not working. According to the best practices that we have been teach or said, we have to upload this bids, physically scan the bids that we are receiving in this collaboration section. But in the training environment is not working. So let me just refer to one job aid that I downloaded. Yeah, here it is. We will send this to you, this job aid, and it's very, very easy, and it's clearly explained how to do that. You see, you have to go to the collaboration part of this notes and attachment screen, and click on the right folder, but I cannot show you, but it's very, very intuitive and very easy. And you should update. You will have this window, click on create, and select a document and upload the bids. I am not sure, to be honest, maybe any of you could jump in and help me with that, why the bidding documents have to be uploaded in this, let's say, collaboration. Maybe there is a tooling behind. I don't know, because there is an attachment tab that works perfectly. So I am not sure why it needs to be done in the collaboration side of this notes and attachment screen. If any of you knows, please feel free to share. But I will send you this job aid on how to upload the biddings physically scanned into the RFX document. Okay. It's just a matter of 3 clicks. So this is the place where the biddings should be uploaded. And just before going for lunch, because we remember, Yes, sorry,
No,
Saida.
maybe before you go further, based on what you just said and asked to participants, that was very interesting because the moment you went to collaboration section, Maria was actually asking about that part, and she was asking if that was not mandatory. But then you explained that in the training environment, it's not working,
No.
and she's saying that it is very important to create it before publishing the ethics. And then, I don't know, somebody raised his hand. Oh, Jawad. Jawad raised his hand. I don't know if Mahia as well wanted to take the floor, but please, Jawad, go ahead.
Yes, hello again. In my understanding that the collaboration room is not yet functional. Actually, and personally, I have never used it. Every time we create the collaboration room, but it's not functional. However, the purpose of the collaboration room is to upload bids just for auditing purposes and just to have them in the system. Another feature is that I think that the system already generates bids, abstract of bids automatically. However, again, as I told you, the collaboration room, I think, in my understanding, is not functional.
Okay. So maybe that's why it's not working in the training environment either. So it's a good, maybe Sonia was, you mentioned before, Saida, you have to, Maria, sorry, you have to create the collaboration before publishing. And once it's published, you can upload documents to this collaboration. But I am not sure that it is working as your word commented as well. Anyhow, I think it's important. It doesn't matter where, it matters where, but to have the bids properly scanned into the RFX document. So maybe you can use the attachment. You are using the attachment tab then to upload the documents instead of the collaboration one.
Yes, we attach, basically, you can attach them as documents, as PDF documents. It's up to the discretion of the procurement officer. Either you can attach all the bids or the winning bid by itself. But as you said, in our previous trainings, we were taught that we should create the collaboration room before we publish the bid, as you rightly said. And in addition, we have to enter the currencies also before we publish it, because it cannot be done afterwards.
Very good observation. You cannot amend the currencies after the RFX document is published. And this collaboration, I didn't know, to be honest. I'm learning with you guys. Maybe it needs to be created, but in the training environment, for sure, it's not working. So you can, if you have to, you can use the attachment section to upload the scanned documents. And just before going for lunch, just summarize what we have done. We created the unfunded shopping cart and approved it. The buyer reviewed the line items in the sourcing cockpit and created the RFX from the unfunded shopping cart. In this RFX, the bidders, the currencies, this collaboration should be, if it works in production, that we are not sure, we think it doesn't. And very careful with the dates, the deadline to submit the bids and the let's say the opening date, that it is the one from the moment where we can start comparing responses and awarding bidders. Okay, so these dates are very important in the RFX documents. It has been submitted an approver, and we have just, as a buyer or bid administrator, entered the bid responses into the system. The next step, and we will do it right after at 2, will be to compare their responses and award a winner. And as you can see, if you can just before, sorry, I let you. This is the RFX document. Here it is. You see, the opening date is 12/05. If I go to responses and awards, I still don't have a tab called a response comparison. Right after lunch, and after 12/05, you will see here a new tab called response comparison, and then we will be able to proceed comparing the responses of the bidders. So from my side, I think that's it. We can go for lunch. Any question before we go?
Yeah, thank you very much, Sol. There is a question from George, but actually this is mainly linked to what we are going to see after, is to what do we do if a vendor did not respond to the LFX or did not pass the technical review? Do we skip them at the response and awards? So I assume that we will see that later. So we leave this question open. And then thank you very much, Daniel. He posted the quiz, not the quiz, the form about the evaluation of this morning session. So before going for lunch, maybe if you guys can please answer, click on the link that Daniel just sent and evaluate this morning session. Thank you. That's it. Thanks, Sol.
Thank you, Saida. Thank to all of you for your patience, because this is a long process, as I anticipated at the beginning. And hopefully see you at 2, and we will continue. But we are almost there, so it's not so. So see you. Enjoy your lunch. For those of you who are going to have lunch, enjoy your lunch, guys. Bye bye.
Thank you,
Sol.
Sol.
Thank you, Sol.